I'm the active guy. I'm going to fight somebody, and that's going to be announced pretty soon.
What about when Chael announced that you guys had a date? And did you see that? You see Chael said everything is done to the date, the location is all set. Did you see that, Tom?
Well, I'll tell you something. I've got a date and a location. This is exciting times for the heavyweight division, man. We get some movement. People are literally forgetting that heavyweights exist. Yeah. Nobody's fought for so long. Like, this is crazy. Like, they've got a guy holding it up. That's old news. That's old news. The active heavyweight champion is here to fight them all.
Tom Aspinall has given an update on the Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall fight and the current state of the heavyweight division. He went on the Good Guy, Bad Guy podcast with Daniel Cormier and Chael Sonnen and said that he has a fight upcoming which will be announced soon, and the MMA community doesn't have to wait much longer to see him fight.
Let's not talk about Jon Jones anymore, man. All the best. The guy's living his best life. Full respect to him. Wish him all the best in the future. He deserves all the money and success that he gets. And I'm the active guy. I'm going to fight somebody, and that's going to be announced pretty soon.
After talking about his upcoming fight announcement, Tom Aspinall went on to talk about the current state of the heavyweight division. He expressed frustration over being the only one actively looking to fight, saying that while people on the outside suggest opponents for him, the reality is that he's trying to fight everyone, but keeps getting turned down. According to Aspinall, no one else in the division seems willing to step up, and he's left feeling like the only fighter truly ready and willing to compete.
No, nobody wants to fight, man. I'm the only guy who wants to fight in the division. I'm just like, you know, people keep trying to tell me what to do from the outside. You should fight this guy and fight that. Look, I'm trying to fight everybody, man. I'm trying to fight absolutely everybody. Everybody keeps saying no.
Continuing, Tom Aspinall made it clear he's ready to fight anyone, stating he's never turned down a fight and never will. For him, fighting is a lifelong passion and purpose, something he's been committed to since he was 10 years old. Now 32 and chasing the UFC heavyweight title, he's frustrated by the delays and just wants to get back in the cage.
So you've essentially told the UFC, I will fight any of them.
I never turned down a friggin' fight in my life. Never, and I never will. The day I start turning down fights is the day I'm going to retire. Yeah. That's when I start turning down fights. I'm here to fight people, man. That's what I do. That's what I'm put on this planet to do, is to train and fight people. That's what I've wanted to do since I was 10 years old. I've been wanting to be the undisputed UFC heavyweight champion since I was 10 years old, man. I'm 32 now. Like, what are we doing?
Aspinall also voiced frustration with the division being stuck, pointing to top contenders like Cyril Gane, Jailton Almeida, and others who seem hesitant to commit, likely due to uncertainty around title shots. He feels everyone is waiting around instead of stepping up, leaving the division at a standstill. But he acknowledged that the inactivity among other fighters is largely due to the unclear status of the heavyweight title. With questions surrounding Jon Jones's future, many contenders are holding out in hopes that the belt will be vacated, giving them a shot at the title. So they're avoiding fights to protect that potential opportunity.
In your opinion, do you think that Ciryl is going to get a real good look there, or do you think it could really be Derek or somebody else next for you?
Oh, it could be anybody. The issue is that the other guys don't want to fight anybody because they might be next themselves. They don't know what's going on at the top.
That's the problem.
And everybody else is scared to fight. You got Volkov there, you got Cyril Gane there, you've got Almeida there, you've got some other guys under those guys, and nobody wants to make the next move. The division is just completely stuck. And I'll tell you what, I don't know about you guys, I'm sick of this division being stuck. I'm there, I'm active, I'm ready to go, I'm training all the time, I'm getting better and better all the time. Just stick me in, man. I'm ready to fight all of them.
Chael Sonnen and Daniel Cormier discussed Tom Aspinall's point about why the heavyweight division is inactive. Sonnen admitted he hadn't realized until Aspinall mentioned that fighters like Curtis Blades, Jailton Almeida, and Cyril Gane aren't taking fights because they're hoping for a shot at a vacant title if Jon Jones doesn't return. He explained that many contenders are avoiding risks, waiting for the opportunity to fight for the title instead.
Daniel, it never crossed my mind. It's right in front of our eyes. Yep. I didn't know it until Tom said it. I have wondered, why isn't Curtis Blades and Almeida? Why isn't Volkov and Ciryl? Why aren't these guys booked? Why aren't these guys calling each other out or even calling for the backup position of the Jones-Tom fight? Like, why is the heavyweight division not doing anything? And then he cleared it up for us. He said, because there's so many guys who sit down with their managers and say, hey, wait a minute, if Jon doesn't come to the table, you could be the guy. So let's not take any fights and screw this up, Daniel. It's happening in front of our face. I didn't see it. I didn't see it till Tom said it.
Yep.
While discussing Tom Aspinall's fight announcement, Chael Sonnen noted that Aspinall clearly has something lined up, but was careful not to reveal too much. Sonnen initially believed the opponent could be Jon Jones, simply because there doesn't seem to be anyone else lined up for him. However, as the conversation went on, Sonnen felt Aspinall subtly hinted that it might be someone else. The way Aspinall responded to a question about Cyril Gane made Sonnen think that Gane could potentially be the opponent instead.
But there was something in there when he said there's an announcement. He made it clear that he does have something and he didn't want to step in it. I think that's Jon Jones, just because I don't think there's anything else for Jon. But he started to pull me in the direction of, no, he legitimately does have something else.
Yeah.
And there was even a way that he answered the Cyril question where that leads me to think perhaps it's Cyril gone.
Chael Sonnen went further and said that if he were to take Tom Aspinall at his word that he's moved on from Jon Jones and has another opponent lined up, there would likely be some disappointment. Sonnen pointed out that if Aspinall was expecting the biggest fight of his career against Jon Jones and that opportunity fell through, then no matter who the new opponent is, it would naturally feel like a letdown in comparison.
But if I was to kind of take him at his word and say he's moved on from Jon and he's got some other announcement, I would imagine there would be disappointment for whoever's name came out of the hat if you thought you were going to have the biggest fight in history against Jon and that fell apart.
While discussing Tom Aspinall's upcoming fight announcement, Daniel Cormier shared his frustration with the situation, noting that it's disappointing not just for Aspinall, but also for the fans. He emphasized that a heavyweight title fight between Tom Aspinall and Jon Jones still feels like the biggest matchup the UFC could put together. Cormier acknowledged that other major fights, like Charles Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev or Islam versus Arman Sarukian, are significant, but insisted that nothing compares to the magnitude of Aspinall versus Jones. In his view, regardless of what people say about the fight losing momentum, it's still the biggest bout the UFC can make in the next 2 years.
It's frustrating for him. It's frustrating for the consumer. It really is frustrating for everyone to not be getting this fight right now because it still feels like the biggest fight we can make. Chael, I know that Ilia Topuria, Charles Oliveira is a big fight. Islam versus Jack is a massive fight.
Definitely.
But a heavyweight title fight between these two dudes is still the biggest fight we can put together. Yeah. I don't care that everybody's going, oh, well, it's lost this and it's lost that. To put Tom Aspinall and Jon Jones is the biggest fight the UFC can make on any calendar for the next 2 years.
On the other hand, Jon Jones mentioned that there's a lot happening behind the scenes with the UFC. He acknowledged that both he and Tom Aspinall have agreed to wait for the organization to make its official announcements, which is why he couldn't provide any further details at the moment.
When are you fighting Tom?
I was waiting for it. When are you fighting Tom? Like, governor. The UFC, and Tom, we all got a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes. They're one of the biggest organizations in sports, and right now Tom and I have agreed to wait for the UFC to make their announcements. So I legally can't really talk about it.
When asked about Jon Jones's status, Tom Aspinall responded by saying that Jones is retired and living his best life. Aspinall pointed out that Jones has had a fantastic career and is a religious man, wishing him well in his future endeavors. He emphasized that it's time to move on, as the heavyweight division has been stuck for too long. Aspinall made it clear that he's ready to take on all challengers and get the division moving again, noting that the contenders and fans are growing tired of the inactivity.
It sounds to me, recently I saw an interview where it said you and Jon are aligned and you guys have decided together to allow for the UFC to tell you what you're doing. Is that true?
Nah, man, John's retired. What are we talking about, guys? John, you guys don't follow Jon on social media?
I don't follow him on social media. He said that...
No, me too, actually. Me too, but the guy is living his best life. He's had a fantastic career, we all know. We know John's a religious man, so I want to say God bless him moving forward in what he does with his life and his career. And, you know, we move on. We move on. I'm the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. I'm ready to take on all comers, get this division moving again. Us guys have been waiting around too long. You know, the contenders are getting sick of it. Everybody's getting sick of it. Even the fans are getting sick of this stuff. So John's retired, and it's time that we move on.
Tom Aspinall went on to reflect on a statement he made a long time ago, where he said he would retire John Jones without even having to fight him. He pointed out that in a way, that's exactly what has happened, acknowledging the situation with a sense of finality.
I said a thing a long time ago, and you guys know me personally. I'm not a disrespectful guy.
Yeah, you're not.
But I said a thing a long time ago that I'm going to retire John without even fighting him, and
You did.
that's what's happened.
Many big names of the MMA community have given their guess for who they think will be Tom Aspinall's opponent, while many still believe that it will be John Jones. Some think that it might actually be Ciryl Gane. Chael Sonnen believes that Tom Aspinall will end up fighting Ciryl Gane instead of John Jones. He argued that a win over Aspinall wouldn't significantly add to Jones's already legendary legacy. He's the youngest UFC champion, a multi-division title holder, and widely regarded as one of the greatest of all time. Sonnen noted that if Jones walks away now, some may label him a coward or claim he was avoiding a loss. However, if Aspinall faces Gane and the fight turns out to be closely contested, especially considering how easily Jones defeated Gane, even Jones's harshest critics would have to acknowledge just how dominant he truly was. For that reason, Sonnen thinks the UFC is more likely to book Aspinall versus Gane next.
If John Jones walked away right now, could he? In terms of legacy, all the great thing he's done, the youngest champion, couple of divisions, could he walk away right now and be just as intact? Does he need Tom Aspinall? What is it that would be added to John's mountaintop if he beat Tom Aspinall? Time would only tell, and it would tell a very different tale. I mean, for example, if John walks away, in the short term, he's walking, he's a chicken, he was gonna lose anyway, that is inevitably going to happen. But if Tom's very first opponent is Ciryl Gane, John went through Ciryl like a hot knife through butter. But meanwhile, if Ciryl and Tom was to go out and really battle, regardless of outcome, but really put on a close back and forth, that is where you would be forced, even if you were one of the yellow belly, he's a coward crowd, to admit, wow, that John Jones, he sure was good.
On the other hand, Michael Bisping shared his thoughts on the potential opponent for Tom Aspinall, saying that it can only be John Jones and calling their fight one of the most highly anticipated matchups in UFC history. He explained that a fight of this magnitude can't be casually announced, as the UFC aims to do it properly with a full press conference and global media presence. Bisping noted that even during his own career, he wasn't allowed to announce his fights early, as the UFC wanted to control the timing and presentation to maximize attention. He emphasized that this is a fight fans around the world are eager to see, and it looks like it's finally going to happen.
This is one of the most highly anticipated fights in all of UFC history. And you can't just announce it, oh, the fight's gonna happen. No, fights of this magnitude, the UFC wanna do a proper job. They wanna announce it in a spectacular fashion. They wanna have a press conference. They want the world's media there. They don't want someone on YouTube or whatever or on the phone just going, yeah, the fight's happening, right? Even when I was fighting my fights, I wasn't allowed to announce them. They wanted to announce them, as I say, in the proper way to make sure that all the world's media is there and it gets all the coverage that it deserves. This is the kind of fight that, of course, deserves that kind of attention. This is a fight the world are crying out for, and this is a fight that it seems like we are going to see.
Michael Bisping went on to say that John Jones has been doing what John Jones typically does, playing mind games and keeping everyone guessing. He suggested that Jones was intentionally creating confusion and frustration, making fans and the media even more eager for the fight to happen. According to Bisping, it was all part of a strategy to build anticipation. And now that the announcement is near, it looks like Jones is finally ready to step in and face Tom Aspinall.
Now, John Jones has been playing around a little bit. He said that Tom Aspinall annoys him and he doesn't want to give him the opportunity.
I just don't even want to do business with him.
And for a while, I was like, what is he doing? Then I was like, hold on a minute. Maybe he's just playing the game. Seems like John Jones might have been talking shit and playing us all for fools.
Additionally, Gilbert Burns believes the ongoing drama surrounding John Jones is likely just part of a negotiation tactic. He suspects that, despite how uncertain things may seem publicly, real talks are happening behind the scenes. Burns thinks that once Jones officially announces the fight, the hype and excitement will return instantly. He also predicts that the bout will likely happen toward the end of the year, possibly in November at Madison Square Garden.
Do you feel that this whole thing is just a ploy and they're actually negotiating behind the scenes?
I think so.
You do think so? Because I do too, but like, it's gotten so crazy that now you start to have some doubts. Like, is he kind of just throwing this and taunting the fans and UFC, or is this just a negotiation tactic and they're actually having serious conversations behind the scenes?
I agree. I do believe it's negotiations going on. They get that food, that food is boiling. People, and eventually John Jones, yes, I'm fighting, and then people, everybody's gonna turn in.
Bro, if that happens, it's gonna be. I think it's gotta be December. You gotta end the year with this fight.
I think it's November. I think it's New York.
Either way.
Gilbert goes further and says that Jon Jones has a lot at stake in a potential fight with Tom Aspinall. He believes that if Aspinall were to score a quick knockout, it could seriously damage Jones's legacy. However, Gilbert also acknowledges that at this point in Jones's career, many would be quick to say he's past his prime and not the same fighter he once was. While a close loss might be more forgivable, a fast and decisive finish would be much harder to overlook and could leave a lasting mark on Jones's reputation.
I mean, it's getting...
Jon Jones has a lot to lose, right? But let's just think Jon Jones lost. Let's just think that fight happened, Tom Aspinall Tom Aspinall wins. And he's a close fight and people think too. I don't think it's that easy.
Right.
But let's presume that Tom Aspinall win. Bro, Jon Jones has so much excuse. I have a year layoff. I was old. This and that. He's not gonna damage his legacy that much.
But if he gets knocked out cold in the first round, what do you think?
Yeah, the people are gonna say, "Oh, he's still old." Jon Jones on his prime would kill these guys.
It just sucks to go out that way when he's been flawless.
Gilbert Burns believes that if the financial reward is large enough, Jon Jones won't hesitate to take the fight despite the risks involved. He's confident that the matchup between Jones and Tom Aspinall will eventually happen. Burns concluded by saying that if the check is big enough, and he believes it will be, Jones will take the fight.
But at the end of the day, if the check is big enough, does he really care,
big
bro?
enough. The check will be big enough, and then I'm telling you guys right now, that fight's happening.
Really?
Yes, this
You're
fight's
that
happening.
sure?
I'm that sure.
So if you had to bet on it, if you had the place,
I'm not betting, but this fight, I really believe, I strongly believe that fight's happening.
What do you think? Who will Tom Aspinall fight next? Will it be Jon Jones, or will it be Ciryl Gane, or will it be someone else entirely? Let us know down in the comments. And like always, don't forget to like and subscribe until next time.